Welcome back to our special coverage of the sentencing of former CIA Director David Petraeus. The four-star general arrived at the federal courthouse in Charlotte recently. He entered a guilty plea last month admitting he gave classified documents to his biographer and former mistress Paula Broadwell in 2011. According to court documents, in an agreement with the government, he will pay $40,000 in fines and receive 2 years probation. We begin our team coverage from the courthouse with Time Warner Cable News reporter Becky Beerider. Becky was one of the reporters there in that media circus who got some video of Petraeus as he walked in. And Becky, did he mention anything to you as he was walking by?
Well, Claudine, again, he was just greeted by a sea of reporters who were peppering a bunch of questions at him.
Team coverage continues with former Union County District Attorney John Snyder. He is in our newsroom. Also in Washington, D.C., we have Jeff Bennett from our D.C. Bureau.
He definitely is still a well-regarded figure. His resume is unmatched by most. So setting this scandal aside for a minute, I think he definitely will still be held in high regard here, at least as a military mind in Washington, D.C.
Judge Keesler's a by-the-book guy. He's a good prosecutor. He was a great prosecutor.
Now we're out to the federal courthouse. We're going to talk to Sean Flynn this time, our managing editor who has been inside the courtroom and listening firsthand, writing notes about what is happening during this hearing. Sean.
Claudine, within just the last 2 minutes, it is confirmed that General David Petraeus will not be going behind bars.
David Petraeus admitted that he improperly removed and retained classified information and also admitted to lying to the FBI and the Central Intelligence Agency.
I would say maybe around 5 or 6 o'clock this morning, she tweeted. She didn't say anything in her tweet. It was just mainly a picture, and it was literally the light at the end of a tunnel.
Today marks the end of a 2.5-year ordeal that resulted from mistakes that I made. I now look forward to moving on with the next phase of my life and to continuing to serve our great nation as a private citizen.
One year ago, Duke Energy, the state's environmental watchdogs, even the EPA were all scattered here around the Dan River, trying to figure out how 39,000 tons of coal ash made it into a critical waterway across 2 states. The incident made national headlines as one of the worst environmental disasters and coal ash spills in history, and has spurred a new look at how Duke stores and monitors their coal ash, as well as what we need to do to keep ourselves safe. I'm Time Warner Cable News reporter Andrew Sorensen, and over the next half hour, we'll share with you new details about what happened here, the changes the spill sparked, and the lessons the leak has left us with 1 year later. On February 2nd, 2014, a security guard at Duke Energy's retired Dan River steam station noticed the water in a waste pond was lower than normal. The company was immediately notified and figured out the pond was leaking into the river. They started making calls to the state and the EPA. Through a communications mishap, the state's Department of Environment and Natural Resources wasn't notified until the next day. But when they were, it rocked Assistant Secretary Tom Reeder. What was it like coming into work on February 3rd and hearing about this going on?
Now, at that point in time, I didn't know how big it was. I didn't know how much had gone in. I didn't know the damage, but I knew instantly that it was going to be a huge deal.
Welcome back to our special report, Lessons from the Leak 1 year later. The coal ash spill surely has changed the way many North Carolinians think about Duke Energy, and the spill has thrust the company into a role far from its core mission. We now turn to lessons that officials say will demand attention for years to come. The spill of 39,000 tons of coal ash was not unexpected, say some, an environmental disaster waiting to happen. Duke Energy says February 2nd, 2014 was a tough day for the region and for the company.
We were already in the process of closing coal ash basins when the spill occurred, but we've taken the lessons learned from that and certainly the direction from our regulators at both the state and federal level to take a very fresh look at how we manage coal ash, how we close our basins.
The spill not only damaged the river, but it damaged the city's image and its potential draw for economic development. He notes Duke Energy's post-spill pledge to make it right and hopes the company will make good on its promise.
You said it was an accident, okay. Accidents do happen, all right? But when accidents happen, people expect to be compensated for the damages.
As hard as it was for some to see these waters run gray with coal ash, the spill at the Dan River did help push one of the toughest coal ash management plans in the country. And by several accounts, Duke did clean up the river just like they said they would. Others would disagree and say that every second a coal ash pond is open in North Carolina, we're still in danger. Either way, it's a problem that will take years to sort out, years that we can reflect back on the lessons learned as coal ash burns its way into North Carolina history. I'm Andrew Sorensen. For Ed Scannell and all of us at Time Warner Cable News, thank you for watching.
These girls are some of my closest friends. We've been through a lot together. All three of them were in my wedding.
Bridesmaids, but teammates first. Jennifer Davidson jumps on an all-women's four-way skydiving team for the Army's Golden Knights. She and her teammates compete all around the globe.
It's exciting and it's adventurous, and I'm always kind of drawn to stuff like that.
But soaring wasn't always her passion. Davidson tried skydiving on a whim just for fun at 18, right after she joined the Army and became a medic.
I was just ready to get out there and do some cool stuff.
Wow. Davidson's love for the sport and commitment to her team in the sky and on the ground hasn't gone unnoticed.
We're looking for agile and adaptive leaders, and that doesn't mean it has to be a man.
Command Sergeant Major Thomas Holland says Davidson is a model soldier.
She's an exceptional leader, exceptional role model.
It's a time when a woman's role in the military is rapidly changing and reaching new heights. Holland says Davidson is the proof.
It's a long time coming, and I'm proud to say that, we have role models on our team that could stand out and say, hey, look what we're doing in a men-dominated sport. And we're not just, here, but we're competing and we're winning.
It shouldn't be about having to prove myself. Like, I just want to be taken seriously on my own right and not have to be like, oh yeah, she's good for a girl. I want to just be able to oh yeah, she's good.
And she's done just that. From the Laurinburg-Maxton Airport, Catherine DeGisi, Time Warner Cable News.
The guys love it because several of them have seen it.
There's a story behind this painting.
And everybody just loves it. Everybody comes in, they stare at it for a while.
It's a portrait of a young man, a young North Carolina soldier who gave the ultimate sacrifice for his country.
And I knew he was a good kid. I keep saying kid, he was a good man.
The Army sergeant in this painting is the son of Tammy Eakes.
It's so much like him. It's like he can speak to me, and it's like his eyes are watching over me.
Mary normally uses her talents to paint beautiful landscapes, but as the mom of a son in the military herself, she knew she could use her paintbrush to help grieving families.
She remembers just special little things about each one of them, so it's not just a painting to her, it's a person, it's a loved one.
Whether it's a picture of soldiers as young children or dressed in their uniforms, stroke by stroke, she creates priceless masterpieces.
They're all special, and I remember each one of them. All of them are so handsome and beautiful.
She painted this portrait of Chief Warrant Officer Edward Cantrell. He wasn't killed in action, but in a North Carolina house fire trying to rescue his children.
I don't want or need any recognition. This is about the families, and this is about our loved soldiers, our heroes. That's who I want to honor. It's about them.
You've often heard the phrase that a picture is worth 1,000 words. For the families who receive these paintings, sometimes there are no words, only tears. For this week's Giving Back, I'm Anthony Austin.
Do you like to eat healthy?
No.
What are some of your favorite things to eat?
Pizza, candy.
Getting children to eat and even name their favorite healthy foods isn't always easy.
Banana, tomato. Today we are making waffles with some strawberries on top.
So educator Mary Ellen Lawnon found a way to stir the problem up.
So who here likes waffles? Raise your hand if you like waffles. You like waffles? All right.
Launen started Kids Cooking Club at the Wilmington Children's Museum 7 years ago. Here, children learn to whip up all kinds of foods, but healthy options are often on the table.
Just trying to find a way to make healthy food appealing to kids. One thing that research shows is when kids are involved in preparing the different foods, that they're much more likely to be interested in tasting what they've done.
It's one of the happiest, but also one of the most expensive days of your life. Unfortunately, the cost of getting married only continues to rise. Weddings are now a multi-billion-dollar global industry, and if you're not careful, your special day can break the bank. Now, right now, I'm planning my own wedding and decided to take a look at how to make our money matter on the big day. It's the day many dream about their entire lives, a gorgeous gown or tux, that wedding cake, but the fairy tale can quickly turn into a nightmare once the bills start rolling in.
We haven't got all the funding yet, but we just pretty much going around pricing stuff.
Like photography is really, really expensive. I've seen people ranging from $1,500 all the way up to I've heard $10,000.
According to a survey from wedding experts at TheKnot.com, the average cost of a wedding is now the highest ever at more than $31,000. So where's all that money going? Well, we came to a wedding show to find out. Let's take a look. It only took a minute planning my own wedding to see why it can cost thousands, from basics like the venue, food, and flowers, to extras like full-length videos and image projection cakes.
$30,000 to $50,000 for an average wedding here in Raleigh. It's very important to choose your vendors. It's really good to allocate your funds, what's most important to your couple.
A focus, a plan, and a budget that will help make your money matter on your wedding day. Caroline Blair, Time Warner Cable News.
Navitat Zipline Canopy Tours offers 2 different courses and a couple of different ways to experience the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Sometimes you're in the trees, sometimes you're really close, like 5-6 feet away from trees as they're buzzing past you on the zip line. And sometimes you're way above these trees with these expansive views of this amazing area.
In a word, visitors find the zip lines exhilarating.
It was like flying! It was like flying!
That's awesome.
Awesome. I was scared to death, so trust me, it was awesome.
Owners here have worked with zip lines for years and decided to create this attraction in 2009.
This is what we think the paradigm of a zipline tour should look like.
The mountains of North Carolina seem well suited for zipline adventures. That might be especially true for this 242 acres of land. There are plenty of kids in the Myrtle Beach area who are addicted to surfing.
To see kids having good, clean fun, getting in shape, that's a good thing.
The kids appreciate the sport.
It makes my heart happy and I love surfing.
And they appreciate what it does for them.
It's a good way to get fit and stay fit.
The surf is small here, so surfboards must be shaped accordingly.
We have to make the boards a little bit wider with a little bit more planing area because the waves here are so weak. Also, it's a big thing to put concaves in the hull of the board because concave gives you lift and speed.
Kelly Richards has been making his Perfection surfboard since the 1980s. He also sponsors competitive surfers and teams of young people. The smaller waves here can actually be an advantage for those who grow up on them.
Since it's so small here, and you learn as much as you can here, whenever you get on better waves, it's a lot easier.
From Time Warner Cable News, this is Jersey Mike Sports Night.
Well, warm greetings as the fireworks going off in downtown Indianapolis. We are on the verge of Championship Monday here at the Final Four, just outside Lucas Oil Stadium. You're watching the Jersey Mike Sports Night. Alongside Jim Connors, I'm Mike Solarte. A long week. It will culminate at long last Monday night.
Duke set to make its 11th appearance in the NCAA Championship game, its 9th under Mike Krzyzewski. Awaiting the Devils in Monday's title game, veteran-laden Wisconsin, fresh off its upset victory over Kentucky.
Coming into the year, I thought they would be the best team in the country, and pretty much they have been. You know, just that Kentucky's undefeated performance overshadowed, I think, just how good Wisconsin has been until last night.
It is absolutely setting up to be an amazing game between two teams, and Jim, I have to agree with the players. If this game is a blowout, it's going to be a surprise.
I would say so as well. You've got a veteran cast in Wisconsin. You've got all that youthful talent with Duke. Will youth be served on the national championship stage?
Well, that's what we'll come to see. So.
All right, we're going to have much more from Indianapolis. We're going to have Bucky Waters in here. We're going to have Ashley Judd dropping by for a visit. So stay put. In the meantime, we're going to kick it back to the studio, get you caught up on the rest of the day in sports.
You're watching Jersey Mike Sports Night on Time Warner Cable News.
Ashley, I know we didn't get the Monday night matchup that you and a lot of folks were looking for. How disappointing to not see them finish the perfect season.
To me, it was a perfect season. With this team in particular, you know, we have 38 wins, and I was going to say there's more to it than just the wins, but that's a lot of wins. And in my book, perfection at this point is defined by the relationship the players had. You know, it is what it is. Wisconsin played really well. I mean, if we start looking at the game, Willie gets his usual, Dakari gets a couple buckets, and we're talking about a totally different outcome.
Ashley, it was classy of you to take a moment to visit with us.
Well, y'all gave us John Wall. I mean, come on.
She knows her basketball. With Ashley Judd, Jim Connors at the Final Four, Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis.
It is moving very quickly, so it's not going to spend a long time over the Outer Banks, but the Outer Banks, the hardest hit area at this moment. You can see the eye of Arthur right over the Sounds there, and that is putting Cape Hatteras here at 2 a.m. right in the eye wall. It's right around the center of the storm where we have the strongest winds and the heaviest of the rain, and that eye wall band is pounding Cape Hatteras. We don't have any current information coming out of Hatteras right now, but I would imagine they're experiencing winds up to around 100 miles per hour just blasting the island. Storm surge, I would imagine Highway 12 is washing over that area. It is going to be a rough next couple of hours around Cape Hatteras. The weather's still not so great at the Outer Banks, but it is getting better. Live camera view from Kill Devil Hills, looking at the Avalon Pier, which appears to still be standing. A little bit of good news there. The surf is still rough. If you're getting the car headed down to the beach, the Outer Banks are going to be tough to get to. Sections of the Outer Banks, Highway 12 is closed, but if you're headed to some of our southeastern beaches, just be aware there's still going to be a bit of a rip current danger off our coast as Arthur moves away from North Carolina. There's the eye on radar well to the east now of Norfolk, Virginia, and Elizabeth City. We're getting the last of the rain bands right through eastern North Carolina.
People in North Carolina realize that I am common sense. I have now been ranked the most moderate senator in the country. And if you look at that, they rank people 1 to 100. I am smack dab in the middle, which is where North Carolina is, and I'm proud of that. And it also shows that I can look across the aisle to get things done.
I'm pretty certain I would have won. I'm pretty certain I would have been reelected speaker, but I term limited myself and was planning on going back to business. And about maybe 18, 20 months ago that I decided that somebody needed to be able to run for Senate who had a credible chance at defeating Senator Hagan.
Tonight we share our conversation with Republican U.S. Senate candidate Thom Tillis. This has been a tough campaign for the candidates, and as we near Election Day, it is still an extremely close race. We have heard a lot from both Tillis and incumbent Democrat Kay Hagan on the issues. We've also been bombarded with attacks and advertising from outside interest groups. We want to clear away the noise and get to know these people that folks will be voting for on November 4th, outside of the talking points.